They don't hear me though. But they don't hear me though. But they don't hear me though. When I hop on the beat, I'm gonna be something like an oddity prodigy. Oh my god, he be rocking these beats of modern day Socrates. I'm unlocking the lock with no key. I'm not what they thought I would be. No mockery, flocking to see my cabinet of curiosities. Twilight zone beside my bone. I'm split. I need like 5 mics on inside my dome. There's no lights on. You get what I mean? I'm bye gone. When I write my song, really wanna bite on like snakes. I say better yet pythons. When I write my wrong, despite how long they never wanna break or be bygones. Mind of a comic, always thinking of new material. Out of the box, the way I kill these beats is serial. Even though the verse is hot and blasting through your stereo. They don't really hear me though. 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 They don't really hear me though.
Yeah, it's time to clock in again, hop in the wave, get to the booth, make draws start dropping again, stopping, never been no option, cause my competition been flopping again, topping the 10 best rappers coming out of my city, got them all sobbing again, plotting to win, but I got a question, when is hip-hop gonna start hip-hopping again, Haters mobbing again, shocking to see them all start flocking again. I'm gonna get the mic cocked, but I can't let y'all's blood get on my conscience again. I'd rather fuck your girl and after take the bitch shopping again. And she gonna come back knocking again, sopping wet, gotta start mopping again. Guess they never give a fuck unless I'm popping pills, sipping lean. Y'all say anything so you can cop a deal, so it seem. I've been proud of all my shit, I keep it real, being me. But if I gotta really rap, I shoot to kill, R.I.P. And they don't even know. Been giving y'all this heat, you sleeping and it really show. It's time to wake them up with shit that make the speakers blow. But they don't really hear me though.
They don't really hear me though. They don't really hear me though. They don't really hear me though. They don't really hear me though. They don't really hear me though. They don't really hear me though. They don't really hear me though. They don't really hear me though.
Welcome to HomeFront Sitrep. I hope you're in for a great show today, because I'm just a veteran talking about what's on my mind and maybe yours.
You can find HomeFront Sitrep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. You can also check out HomeFront Sitrep's YouTube channel.
Buckle up, the show is starting.
Mic in hand, ready for deployment. Podcast feels heavy as the ointment. Veteran tales straight from the trenches. Pop culture splices, pulling down the fences. Homefront Sitrep, stories that collide. Veterans speaking truth, no reason to hide. Gritty and raw podcast on replay, decoding the past, paving the way. War zone whispers, bullets and bombs. Back to civilian ticking like a time bomb. Medals on the mantle, scars on the mind. Every episode another mystery to find. Homefront Sitrep, voices from the fight. Veterans sharing dark, stepping into light. Real life saga, not some fairy tale. Truth and resilience, never gonna fail. Homefront Sitrep, stories that collide. Veterans speaking truth, no reason to hide. Gritty and raw podcast on replay, decoding the past, paving the way. War zone whispers, bullets and bombs. Back to civilian ticking like a time bomb. Medals on the mantle, scars on the mind. Every episode another mystery to find. Legacy 11X, story of Marines. Army anecdotes, Gulf War scenes. Vietnam echoes, Desert Storm sounds. Podcast chronicles, glory and bounds. Homefront Sitrep, honesty is core. Veterans laying bare what they endure. From the front lines to the homebound grief. Episodes of grit, grind through the grief.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a Monday edition of Homefront Sitrep. How is everybody doing? Gunny, how are you, sir?
Tired.
I bet,
Tired.
man.
Long day of snow blowing, not only my driveway, but went and helped out a couple of neighbors as well that were, either shoveling or just hadn't started their driveway yet. I mean, plow truck went by and made a huge bank at the front, and it took every bit of that, energy that my snowblower had to get through it.
Dang.
And then we had a couple other neighbors that came out and helped too, just to get through that first bank. I mean, I think we probably ended up with, 10 or 11 inches, and it got heavy overnight because we had some other weather that came in. How about down your end? You guys got a lot of ice.
Yeah, we got our snow, then we got our ice, and then we got some more snow this morning. Like I got a probably around 9:30 this morning, and I had two VA appointments, and I was like, I'm not making either one of them. And when I got up this morning, snow was coming down pretty good, and I was like, holy Nikes. And so we had, I think maybe altogether snow wise, I think close to about 11, 12 inches, maybe 13, and then plus about 2 inches of freezing rain in between there. So when I went out to clean my truck off this morning, because I had drove it yesterday and then I parked it after we got back from church and didn't move it since then. And I had snow, and then I had probably about 2 inches of ice on the truck itself, and then snow on top of that. And I was like, man, what's going on, Glenn? Rat Man, how are you, sir? Welcome back to the New Year's, Glenn. Um, but no, the roads, I got out today, so I went to Kroger today because we literally just got back from Florida before the
Yeah.
storm came through. And on the way back home, everybody's like, oh, it's snowmageddon. Everybody's clearing, the stores out. So I was like, I'll just wait a couple of days and go up to the store and get some groceries. And because we had some stuff, we already had stuff here, non-perishable stuff, but we didn't have milk and bread and stuff like that because we were gone for a week. And so I went up to Kroger this morning, and man, there was no fresh meat in the deli section. Like the whole deli, like steaks, burgers, chicken, all of that was cleared out. There was nothing. Because the wife, she's like, hey, I want chicken and noodles for my homemade chicken and noodles that I make. And I was like, we're gonna have to go with frozen chicken breast, because normally I do fresh chicken breast.
Yeah.
So I had to go to the frozen section and find the last package of frozen chicken breast. And then I came home, boiled that, and put my egg noodles and then my cream of chicken and all of that in there, and just made chicken noodles that way. I spent $143 on groceries because the stuff that I normally get, they didn't have. So I had to go with name brand stuff. And my wife was like, holy cow. But no, man.
It's crazy. We did our shopping at the beginning of the week, knowing this was coming. And what sucks is I take off in the morning for North Carolina, myself and Micah. And I looked at April today. I'm like, hey, do you, it's up to you. Do you want me to go? Because everything's done here, except we have cold weather coming in, and I don't want to leave her if she doesn't want me to. Right. Yeah. So she's like, yeah, no, good. What if I tell you no? You're going to go? I'm like, no, we'll delay a day, but
there's more snow coming in Thursday.
I'm not worried about that little couple inches that we're supposed to get. Right. And we'll be coming back. We'll be back probably around 6 o'clock on Thursday. We're only going down for a couple of days and coming back. And I've got some other things I have to do either on the way down, on the way back, with the Mogadishu Mile stuff. But yeah, I mean, I thought I moved away from all this, leaving Maine. Yeah. And yeah.
Well, this is like
back home.
This is like once in 20 years. I mean, I can't remember the last time we had this much snow. Normally we get, 3 or 4 inches and that's it. But this, I think the last time we had this was in 2004, maybe. It was the last time we had snow like this.
I think it's been up here in Northern Kentucky. It's been a shorter period of time because I can't remember if Micah was born or not, but I do remember coming back into CVG, no flights going anywhere, people camping inside CVG, luggage everywhere, luggage on the taxiways, and Calm Air was still open at the time. And I don't know when they closed, because that was in the C terminal and we were coming back. I want to say that was probably 2013, maybe 2010, 13, somewhere in there. But it was the last time we had something major like this up here,
Yeah. No, like I said, last time I can remember snow like this, I want to say it was around 2004, maybe 2004. I think that was the last time that we had a major snow like this. What's up, Rick Ames? How are you, brother?
I was back in Carolina by then, so
yeah, I think it was 2004 is last time we had snow like this here, anyway, that I can remember. There might have been one other time after that, but Actually, no, I take it back. Because in 2006, 2006, I was living in Georgetown, Indiana, and we got 22 inches of snow up there. But Kentucky, I don't know what they got over here. But our guest today that we're having on today, I don't think they've ever seen snow where he lives.
I mean, maybe a flurry or two in the mountainous area. Maybe
in the mountains. Maybe. We'll find out. We'll have to ask him.
Yeah, sure.
I think he said it was 80 degrees already where he's at.
Oh, I know he's got a nice tan going on, and basking in the sun in his room, and here we are with nice ambient light and everything else, and he's just got natural light shining through on him, and it's like,
so
a little jealous on this end.
I love your hat, by the way.
Yeah, different hat. Yeah, Apollo Heating up here. They were the sponsor for Echo when I got her, so they sponsored all of her training and all of her follow-on stuff, like her vest and leash and just a bunch of stuff. So I greatly appreciate everything that they've done for me, and of course Echo and her training. And I was able to speak with their group of veterans and show my appreciation to them too. Shortly after we got Echo.
Heck yeah. So I'm wearing a new gray hat, even though it looks black, it's gray. And then I'm wearing a shirt that my daughter got me for Christmas. And I have to show you what it says. So it says, proud father of a few.
Dumbass kids.
My youngest daughter, who is very witty like her daddy, got that for me for Christmas. And the shirt that I had on last night, the sweater, Grace had got that for me for Christmas as well. So they told me I had to wear them for the first 2 episodes back this year. So,
nice.
So I had to wear them.
I did have a pajama top on. I'm like, hey, run upstairs real quick because we just finished dinner. I'm like, go get me another shirt. So I'm rocking this year's Mogadishu Mile
nice.
Shirt. But with pajama bottoms.
Nice. I do have sweatpants on, but I do have a good shirt on. My wife's like, "You're really gonna wear that?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna wear it."
Nobody sees anything below this, so
it just says "proud father of a few." That's all you can see. So, but no, I want to play one little video before we bring our guest in. HomeFront Sitrep is a proud partner with Reese Across America Radio. You can find us on Reese Across America Radio. The link is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. It's reacheacrossAmerica.org/radio. You can find us on that link there Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern. Or if you have the Audacity app, TuneIn app, or iHeartRadio, you can search the word Wreath and find Reach Across America Radio there, and you can look up our video. So I'm gonna play that video real quick and just go ahead and knock it out real quick. Hey, it's Willis. Join Candace and I from HomeFront Sitrep on Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern on Reese Across America Radio. You can find Reese Across America Radio on the iHeartRadio app, the Audacity app, and TuneIn app. Search the word Wreath. So now I just noticed I'm going to have to change the verbiage in there because I'm just going to have to put the HomeFront Sitrep team in there and not just say Candace and I, because you never know who's going to be the guest,
right?
So who knows? So without further ado, let's bring up Mr. Tim Thomas all the way from sunny Australia to the stage. How are you, sir? Let's get you on the big screen, my friend. How are you, sir?
Great to be here. I enjoyed listening to your relaxed dialogue on the way in. And I'm looking forward to the next hour with you good blokes.
Awesome. Well, we're so proud and honored to have you on here. So we like going international. And what I mean by that is seeing veterans from other countries and how the service relates back. Of course, when you're in the military, no matter where you're at, the military is the military. But it's when you get out of the military, that's where things kind of differ. So we had Philippia Bagley, who's a British Army veteran. She did 14 years. She was a British Intel Corps, and she's been out now. She's a hypnotherapist slash psychotherapist, and what she's doing in the UK, because over there they don't have a DVA like you got in Australia or DVA like we have here in America, so they do things a little bit different. But if you don't mind, if you can do me a favor, and that's introduce yourself to our listeners and our watchers, if you don't mind.
Sure. Okay. Well, my name is Tim Thomas. I hail from Brisbane, Australia. If you've ever done any sort of touristy stuff, I'm very close to the Gold Coast, where we have all the famous beaches. I grew up in South Australia. My father worked with very low socioeconomic, people. I guess you'd call them people that live under bridges. People that don't really have homes. The Aboriginal Australians in that area in the 70s didn't have a lot of government funding. It sort of came down to people that had a heart for service. My dad worked in a church, and I grew up in that space. It was great growing up in the Aboriginal culture. I ate most things that crawled on the ground or hopped. I'm sure you know what kangaroos are.
Right.
And when I did my schooling in the big city, and it wasn't just a cultural shift for me. I had dyslexia, but back in the 70s and 80s, the technical term for dyslexia was you're stupid, and you tell a kid that enough and they start believing it.
Yeah.
And so, I thought, well, if I'm obviously stupid, the sky is blue and Tim is stupid, right? So I may as well have as much fun as I can. So I was a very disruptive influence in class. And then when I got into my 20s and I started doing these IQ tests, these results started coming through, and I'm like, maybe I'm not as stupid as everyone says. And then I had a real heart for helping others, because I'm thinking, how many other people are out there? They have these incredible gifts, but because they've been told they're stupid, they're worthless, and they feel worthless, their feelings are stopping their wondrous genius coming out. And even though I wasn't particularly academic, I did as a dyslexic, I could see things in patterns. And I noticed that when that energy was like money. How you invest it is how you get it back. And I noticed when I invested in my physical body, I just felt smarter, more powerful, happier within myself, more confident. I was later to find out that when you exercise, your muscles release glucose and oxygen into the bloodstream across the blood-brain barrier and coats your neural pathways with glucose, oxygen, and something called BDNF, brain-derived neurotropic factor, basically fertilizer for your brain. And all those sort of seeds of greatness inside of us are in our brain. And I think when we access our physicality, when we put the fertilizer up there, that's a really great way to find what you're supposed to be doing in this world. So I became a professional fighter, but back in the 90s, we got paid, didn't get paid much. It wasn't exactly legal just yet. This was pre-MMA, pre-UFC. It was sort of in underground biker bars. And then at 30 in Australia, they started this scheme that the Australian military had never done before. And that was a scheme called the DRSF scheme, Direct Recruiting into Special Forces. Because usually you had to spend 2 years in a regular infantry unit before you could even apply. And here they were running this scheme that civilians, provided you pass the right physical, mental, aptitude, psychological, blah, 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 you could get in. I'm told that between 5,000 and 10,000 people applied. 70 people were accepted on the initial intake. I was on the initial intake in January 2004. And at 30, I was the oldest person to be at the oldest allowable age. So I picked up the nickname Old Man Tomo, but I didn't particularly appreciate it. But I think I was set up powerfully that growing up in the 70s and 80s, getting beaten up every day at school was just a Tuesday. You wouldn't even tell your mum and dad. You just got roughed up, whatever. sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. So I was quite tough, I must say. And that sort of old school toughness got me through when some of the younger recruits were losing a lot of energy in their head about why the corporal was being such a bully or whatever. I'm like, whatever,
Yeah.
So I hope that answers your question without tangenting too much.
No,
Absolutely.
Yeah, it definitely does. So you were 30 when you joined the military. Now, like for me, I went right after high school. Like I literally graduated high school and was gone a month later. And so what made you at the age of 30 to decide to join the military?
I would just started a family, and the other impacting factor was, you might have heard of the Bali bombings. There was a terrorist attack in Bali. A lot of Australian tourists were hit in that attack. And one of them was a friend of mine that I went to school with. And I thought, these guys aren't respecting boundaries. I'd much rather, have a fight somewhere else than wait for them to come to me. And in my country of Australia, we've got this wonderful assumed sense of safety. So if there's a box on the side of the road, it's a box on the side of the road. It's not an IED. Right. And my fear was that if fear came into Australian culture and we weren't ready for it, then we would take generations to get rid of it. So I thought it made a lot of sense to me at the time to protect what we had and do everything I could so the fear wouldn't sort of infect this, great, wonderful lifestyle that everyone sort of, like I said, we just have this assumed sense of safety, which is awesome. And if it was corrupted, I think I didn't want that to happen. So I thought, well, time. It can't always be someone else, Right. It can't be someone else's father, mother, brother,
No, yeah. So that's kind of like what happened after 9/11 here. There was influx of people joining the military because, a lot of people lost people in the towers and other places. And a lot of people are like, oh, I'm joining the military because I don't want it to come here. And I think here in America, we're kind of like that as well. We assume that nobody's going to come here and attack us on our own soil, which after 9/11, I think that was heightened for a really long time. But I think people here are slowly going back to that mindset. Oh, nobody's going to attack us here, which I can see possibly it happening again, but who knows?
We had Pearl Harbor, right? I mean, even though it's Hawaii, it's still U.S. soil. We've had other incidences here in the States, just not to the magnitude of 9/11. And I'll tell you, I was a recruiter when 9/11 happened, and I came back to the office, and there were Korean War veterans, Vietnam veterans that were lined up. I couldn't even park in my parking lot. I had to park at the high school and walk back over to the office because all these guys wanted to go back in. And like, put me in, Sarge. I'm like, oh, you did your time. I appreciate it. I mean, we have term limits and age limits and weight limits. We just can't do anything with you. Let this new group of people, take up the pack and go.
Yeah, I saw a comment before, boundaries are important. And I strongly believe that, because I love beautiful things. And I think beauty needs boundaries, to grow. I think my country is beautiful, and for it to grow, it needs those boundaries. Like a small plant needs a little boundary around it so it can grow into something awesome. But if it was always attacked while it was small, we would never see what would become of it. So I think, having those boundaries, having that sense of safety is so important to growth. And so I do a lot of martial arts, and what I tell people, especially the newcomers, is that yes, you're learning how to punch and kick, but it's not about kicking ass. It's about controlling that space around you so that when you don't have to worry about incursions.
Yeah.
And so that if I'm always worried about my personal space being, pushed in on, then I'm taking energy away from me growing, and I'm retarding my own growth because I'm so worried about someone coming across that feeling of feeling, safe. And it almost sort of dovetails nicely into when you get out of the military and you have that fight or flight part of you still kicking in, even though you're in a safe, free country, you fought for your freedom, you're not enjoying it because there's a part of you, shit, that box on the side of the road, that could be a bomb. Did I see wires coming out of it? I was that veteran calling up the cops going, hey, there's a box with some wires coming out of it. And it wasn't anything to do with reality, but the part of me that I had trained and developed to see threat didn't want to be made redundant.
Yeah.
Because it had worked very hard to develop itself. And it says, I don't want to be made redundant. So even though you're feeling safe, I'll make you see threats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been out of the military since 2004. And I'll still, like, when I go into church or restaurants or driving down a sketchy road or whatnot, I'm like always looking for, anything that could be out of the ordinary. And when we go to restaurants, my wife and kids are like, Dad, it'll be fine. It'll be okay. And I'm like, I can't shut my brain down. Unfortunately, I've tried to hinder it to, or limit it, but it's still there. That thought is always, I don't think I'll ever get rid of it. Unfortunately.
Yeah, my wife and kids will tell you, they won't even think about putting my back to the door.
Yeah.
Subconsciously now, they just make sure I'm facing the door. And it's just, the way it was 14 plus years in the Marine Corps and, 9 of it in the infantry. And it's like, it's hard to kick those habits that were ingrained in us. And, you talk about the boxes and it's boxes, it's dead animals, it's, overpasses, it's, so many, a broken down vehicle, so many things, especially after I got back and coming back, we were passing an 18-wheeler and the tire blew. And I just lost control on my wife. And, you're supposed to go around that. What do you think you're doing? She didn't talk to me for 2 days. And then I had to, hey, I'm sorry. I know it wasn't your fault. I'm back here in the States. I'm not in Iraq again, but it was still fresh. I think I hadn't even been back a year yet when that had happened. And, after being blown up twice, it's like that instinct just kicked right back in.
So
can I just offer something in that moment? I'm just going to drop something here because what a lot of psychologists don't understand, they study for 7 years and they don't realize that the trauma goes down deeper than the words can reach.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You got their words can shoot 200 yards. That's what they've learned 7 years and they've got a rifle that shoots 200 yards. Your targets are like 5 miles away, but they're telling you, oh, I'm shooting in the right directions. You're not hitting shit. With words alone. And it actually took me 6 years, and I'm going to lay this on you right now, because I couldn't switch it off. And if I took pills or alcohol, my own system would fight it because this wasn't just an option for me. This was survival. Okay. Yeah. And what I found after 6 years of looking was a guy who had retired. He looked like frickin' Yoda, this weird looking dude, but when he spoke, you could tell that there was knowledge there. And he'd worked sort of under the radar with veterans for about 40 years. And he figured out that when you're exposed to threat regularly, inside your pupils, right? When you do your night vision goggles, they talk about the rods and cones in your eyes.
Yeah.
He said, the rods and cones in your eyes align themselves in a certain way so they see threat more easily. So your life's in 2 colors, safe and not safe. You're not seeing beauty, you're not seeing anything else. It's just safe and not safe. And what he showed me, it took him 3 months for me to actually trust him, because when you're in a state of fight or flight, you don't know who to trust.
Yeah.
And after 3 months, he could see that I trusted him. And in 15 minutes, he showed me, it was the stupidest thing I've ever done. But if it's stupid and it works, right? He showed me.
Right. As long as it works.
What? Yeah. Okay. I'll take anything that works. I don't care the packaging. He showed me how to change the rods and cone alignment in my eyes to feed a very different signal back to my brain. So if you look at my eye, see how close it is to my brain? And if those rods and cones in my eye are lined up for threat, they're feeding a signal, feeding a signal, feeding a signal. So he showed me how to change the alignment of these rods and cones mechanically to feed a different signal to my brain. And I do these things, right? And it was pretty mundane stuff, and I felt like I was going cross-eyed. And then he said, how does your body feel? And I felt this rush going through my body because I was so connected to threat, I was disconnected from my own body. And I had all sorts of fucked up shit happening in my body, but I was so focused on the threat, this didn't matter. In fact, the discomfort I was feeling here made me focus more on that. You know what I mean? Focusing on threat became my savior, because heaven forbid I look down and look at the shit show that's going on that is my own nervous system, right? And so when I sat back down after having a different mechanical structure in my eye socket feed a different signal to my brain, I could feel my hands, my feet, and my stomach was so tight, and I'm like, oh, I can relax that now. I can relax my shoulders. And then he says, look around the room. And because when I was in fight or flight, it's like I was looking through a peephole that was going 1,000 miles an hour. And I thought, I just need to make that threat response go faster and I'll be okay. But because I opened all that up, I saw it all and I saw details. And he took me outside and I looked up at this tree and I nearly cried because I realized it had been, because everything was in safe and not safe, I saw this tree, and for the first time I saw beauty. Life without beauty is a pretty rough place to be. I could be with my beautiful then wife, but I was looking around her because she's safe, she's fine, and it's the other stuff that I'm looking for. Because it made it even harder when I was around relaxed people, because they're relaxed. If something bad happens, they're going to get jumped, and they're just still going to be chewing their food. So I've got to be hyper alert for them as well. And so I just want to share that and I've shown this to several thousand veterans, in person. This one particular technique doesn't cost you anything. It's just something that mechanically changes the signal that we don't even know we're sending. Right. And no amount of words could have done that. Just trust in another human being and then doing these manipulative, rods and cone sort of things inside my eye sockets, then gave me access to see outside that peephole of fight or flight. So I just want to give people hope that there are other options out there.
I love that. I definitely love that. I'd love to see that myself. I think that would help me out quite a bit, because I literally, I'm like that now when I have a beautiful family here and I know we're all safe, but when we're out and about, it's not about them, because I know they're with me. It's everybody else that I'm hyper aware of, hyper vigilant, or whatever you want to say. So I would definitely love to check that out.
If we allow a little bit of time at the end, I'd like to do two takeaways. One is a little breath thing. And again, that's you'll learn that we don't own a set of lungs. We own a medicine cabinet with a lot of different shelves. You can breathe a certain way to attain a certain state. When I'm working with corporates, I get them to breathe. When I'm working with high school students, there's a certain way of breathing to, focus past the exam stress. When I'm working with veterans or anyone who wants to sleep, but we'll do that. But I'll also show you this little anti-instinctive eye movement. That'll be yours and the viewers to take home. It's important that it's really good that you've got this as a video stream so people can actually see, how to use this.
Oh yeah, for sure. We'll definitely do that at the end. We'll make sure we make time for that. So you did your time in your military, and you got out of the military. Now, what was your transition like when you got out of the military back to the civilian sector? How was your transition?
So if you ask me, I'll be like, I'm fine. Everything's fine. I get a job. Everything's going to be fine, right? But I couldn't not drink half a carton of grog before I spoke to my then wife. I didn't, if someone asked me if I was an alcoholic, I'd say no, but I knew all the locations of the bottle shops, and I knew the inside of all the bottle shops pretty well. Like I knew if they moved my favorite cider or a particular, drink from one. I just happened to, and I didn't pay much attention to that, but it was just there. And I also knew where all the chemists were, if I needed pills or whatever it was. So if you ask me, I was fine, but things were just crumbling around me. And then in 2011, I got out in 2010, 2011, April. I'm going to share this because it's not dissimilar to a lot of veteran journeys. 2011, I was about to kill a man. The Australian government wasn't paying me. This one would have been murder. I'd reached rock bottom, PTSD. I couldn't, ignore the crap that was going on in my own life, family breaking down. And I didn't know what to do because I'd never been in this situation before. And society says, oh, if you got crap going on in your head, you got to see a psychologist. And I'm like, a psychologist? I don't know that guy. That's a complete stranger. I don't trust that guy.
Yeah.
But, shit, everything's falling down around me. What the fuck do you know, Tim? And so I drive to this place completely triggered. And I tell him everything I saw in service, all the crap that was going on. And the guy wasn't just incompetent. Incompetent, I can handle. Apathetic incompetent and apathetic was the two words I'd use for my experience of this psychologist. And then at the end, after I spilt my guts and it was really hard to talk about all this, he goes, oh, you think it was a problem with your mum and dad? And that's when the room froze. I became very aware of everything that was in there. And I saw his glass framed psychology degree. And I'm like, perfect. I'm going to grab that frame and feed it down his neck because this guy is supposed to be a healer. And he's not just not healing, he's causing pain to people. So in my state of disconnect, it made a lot of sense to remove this guy. That was my postal moment, right?
Right.
And I get out of my chair to do it because it made sense to me to do that. And as I get out of my chair, I feel this hand on my chest and I hear the words, red flag, Tim. You are the toughest mofo you know. How many other people are struggling in this system, trying to move forward, but they're getting met with incompetence and apathy? And I sat back down, and that's when I saw him. I saw them, Willis. I saw thousands of other veterans looking into where I was in that chair saying, Tim, if you can find a way forward for you, you can find a way forward for us. And it was that moment I realized, you know what? It doesn't matter if it takes me a week, a month, a decade. I've got to find a way forward because I've got a sense that if it takes me a decade to move forward, that's the amount of time I'm going to be able to save other people, and it was in that moment that my isolation was broken. Because when I'm isolated, I'm that, I can justify all sorts of crazy behavior. I was justifying killing a bloke, that crazy ass lone wolf. That could have been me. But when I ask this question and I invite everybody, whatever you're up against, you don't have to be a veteran. You could be up against breast cancer. You ask yourself this golden question: how many other people are in the same situation as me? And give that a real number. Don't just leave it as that's a real question. How many people, honestly, do you think are in that same situation? Because they're out there right now.
Yeah.
And when I looked left and right of me, there was no bottom to the end of this queue of people looking in. And in that space, I had this sense that at some point in the future, there was going to be people really glad I made positive choices back in 2011, people that I haven't even met yet, people that are going to be saying, I'm so glad you chose what you chose back in 2011 because now this has benefited my life. And that wasn't I'm not a particularly unique or special individual. Everyone has that opportunity to overcome what you need to come through, because once you overcome it, you get the right, the ability, the qualification to break the isolation of someone else that is yet to go through it. You get to say, this is possible. Here's a few options.
Okay. I like it. I like it. Yeah, because I guess a lot of veterans out there, like me talking to a lot of guys, since I've got out. What's going on, Rich LaMonica from the Misfit Nation? What's going on, buddy?
Hey, Rich.
Getting out, a lot of veterans, we feel that disconnect. We lose that sense of purpose. We lose that sense of camaraderie. And I guess we don't put it into the perspective of how many other veterans are going through the situation that we're going through or something similar. And for me, when I got out, I started doing veteran charity work and started talking to other veterans and hearing their stories and seeing that, there's a lot of people like me out there. And I think that's what helped me help minimize, my demons and my struggles on a daily. So yeah, it's just, it's definitely crazy out there.
And more than that, it's very much in the military's ethos to show loyalty to people. And that's our superpower. When you've got my back and I've got yours, like everything else is a very small detail. We can bring on the pain. There's nothing we can't handle, right? But often when people get out on civilian street, they show that loyalty and then they get betrayed. Yeah. And that is the biggest kick in the nuts you've ever had. The one superpower, the thing that you could trust to keep yourself going no matter what gets used against you. And that's when guys start going, you know what, fuck this, I'm dropping off the map. Yeah. Society's too much. Whether they drop off the map physically and disappear into the woods, or they drop off with alcohol, that was my thing, or they let, the pharmaceutical companies tell you what's good for you, you know?
So for me, like, I didn't go to the VA for a really long time because I was one of the stubborn ones that said, there's other veterans out there that need it more than I do. And, my wife for 15 plus years, she's like, hey bro, you need to go to the VA. Your shit's getting worse. Your shit's getting worse. You need to go. And then when I started doing this podcast and started talking with Sam again, I was like, well, if I'm telling people to go to the VA, I need to go to the VA myself. So I go to the VA and I'm started my process. I'm seeing a therapist who's outside of the VA, but it's through the VA. So it's community consult. And I go into his office the first time and he's like, I'm not a veteran. My dad was a Marine, which kind of set me at ease because his dad was a Marine. He said, I can't tell you that I know what you went through, but I've seen it from the child of a veteran, which kind of eased it a little bit for me. But, when I was laying out, some of my stuff that I have seen, and he's like, what happened during your childhood? Kind of similar to what, your situation with, because I grew up with a single mom. My mom's boyfriends were very abusive to me, my mom and my siblings as I was growing up, which they say that a lot of military members have really bad childhood before they join the military, which the numbers out there says that's correct. But for the simple fact that him saying, hey, we got to peel back the layers of that onion to get back to the root problem. Do I think the therapy's working? To a certain extent, because I go there and he pretty much lets me talk about whatever I want to talk about, whatever's going on, in my mind at that time. Whether it's my knee surgery, whether it's this or that. But I have a hard time sleeping in. I'm an insomniac. I can literally be up to 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, then turn around and be right back up at 05. So I have trouble sleeping. And my wife is like, dude, you need to get some rest. So I think that's where your breathe better, sleep better, breathwork in bed will come into play. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Well, let's talk about something that you touched on in the preamble to this. In the military, they show you how to, push on, go hard, do what you need to do, but they don't show you how to slow down, rest and digest. So they show you how to throttle the car, put foot on the gas, as you guys call it, but they don't show you how to hit the brake. So our nervous system, we know how to accelerate it and up it, but we haven't been shown how to slow it down. Okay, the technical term for that is the PNS, parasympathetic nervous system. the thing that actually slows you down. Or if you're going to look at it from like an aircraft carrier, you know, those jets, they come in hot and they've got that arrestor cable and they catch on that and it slows you down. Imagine if there was no arrestor cable on the aircraft carrier. It would just hit and then have to power up and keep going. It would have to be continually in fight or flight. So if you think of the P&S system like that arrestor cable, and then you the pilot, it's actually your brain can get out and have some R&R before it takes off and starts flying around again. Because we're built to, you know, to hit targets, do what we need to do and be powerful, but no one's shown us how to slow down, because we've associated that if we drop our guard for a second, something bad's going to happen. It's going to be our fault. All right. And we certainly don't ask for help, because if you ask for help, that means you're weak. And if you're weak, you let the team down, and I'll die before I let the team down. You know, I don't want to be the weak link. So when I talk to veterans about developing themselves, I get them to think about a small team. If someone's underperforming by 20%, that impacts on the others. Now you can say, I'm fine. But everyone else has to pick up, say, 5%. But if you develop yourself, if you improve yourself, then everyone's life is better by 5%. Now, if you saw me in the gym, and I might have been, you know, probably can't bench as much as Gunny, but let's say, but he wouldn't call me weak if he saw me in the gym. It's my desire to get stronger that puts me in there. And so I have that same desire to get stronger when I go to, you know, the men's group, the yoga, the counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists, that desire to get stronger. Because I don't think it's said loudly enough that, you know, a man's generosity and happiness is relative to how powerful he feels. If you want to see an unhappy, stingy man, he doesn't feel powerful. So getting healing isn't about being this tofu celery eating dude on top of the hill. It's about learning how to rest correctly so you can then power on. So think of like I'm using a lot of acronyms right now, like a bow and an arrow. The arrow goes away from the target, but it's creating momentum. And that's what, when you activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the ability to rest, it doesn't make any sense. Like, my target's over there and I'm going away from it. I'm supposed to be going closer to my target, but you're actually gaining momentum. So, you know, guys that are used to always doing have to give themselves permission to go away from the target, let themselves rest, to then actually give the best of themselves, to be able to contribute to all those other people in their team. And so breath work is one of the easiest, free, non-addictive, healthy ways to access your parasympathetic nervous system. And I'll tell you why breath work is so powerful. Think of us humans as evolving organisms. Before we were sentient, before we had, you know, rock paintings on cave walls, we were breathing. Before we were speaking, we were breathing. So that deep ancient wiring still lives inside of us, and it actually outranks our thinking mind and our words. So as a fighter, I fought a lot of guys. I understood that the brain came second to the breath. And as a fighter, I would target my enemies, my opponents.
Right. Well, at the time, they're your enemy.
Yeah, at the time. Yeah, let's bring it on. But, you know, I'd often fight guys that were much more skillful than me. But because I understood how the breath worked, if I could attack their lungs, if I could make them worry about their breathing, all of their really cool techniques never got a look in. So conversely, as you improve your breathing, every function in your body gets improved. And our breathing controls our state of being. So if you saw someone going, you know, they're about to freak out. And they're chest breathing, they're upping their oxygen, they're telling themselves they're in fight or flight. And without knowing it, when we shallow breathe, if we're not consciously breathing, we shallow breathe. We're telling our bodies continually all the time that we're in fight or flight. Conversely, if you saw someone do this, you know, like, that's a pretty chill dude. Okay?
Yeah, right.
So whether the reason I like breath work is, and you don't hear about it because no one's making money. And I'm going to give everyone a lived experience of this shortly. When you breathe properly, you actually get to access all the resources in your head, because you're not, I've got a fight or flight. You get to access your higher thinking. It's like putting a drone up and seeing it all. Okay. You get to see the bigger picture. But you also get a chance to give this body of ours a chance to rest and recover. So I became very successful in my veteran recovery programs because I measured the success of them in how much they improved the veteran's sleep.
Mm.
Because, you know, in the special forces, we used to weaponize sleep. We'd deliberately attack the enemy's sleep because we knew if we took sleep out for 3 nights, it would mess them up better than a bullet.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then I come back to, you know, the modern Western world, and veterans especially, but it's like the busyness of our world is denying us quality sleep, quality rest. We're in that off-centered fatigue state. And then whether it's by design or default, our consumer society loves it when we're fatigued, because then we're more susceptible to suggestion.
Mm.
You know what? You do need a new set of shoes before you can feel good about yourself. You do need a this or that. You know, you can't feel good about you unless you have, but if you're in a fatigue state, you're like, oh, maybe that's right, and everyone's doing it. But if you're a sovereign individual, you know how to guard your sleep, give yourself the nourishment, then all of a sudden you can critically think about what you let through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's boundaries around our nation, but there's also boundaries around your own psyche. And when you're fatigued, it's like your boundaries become frayed and things get in. If you're always wondering why some things are pissing you off, that's a good sign that your boundaries need to be a little more integrous. I mean, if you ask me, when I was in traffic, that was always a hell of a thing. You know, I didn't have I wasn't a sovereign individual in traffic because I'm like, rah, that person, rah, you know what I mean?
Yeah. My wife will tell you that's how I am in traffic.
Yeah. That's why I have a big truck.
Yeah. Well, we were coming back from Florida and we were driving her car because it's, you know, we got a family of 4 and plus all of our luggage. And literally we were heading to Florida, and I'm a fast driver. Like I like driving fast, and I like leading the pack. I don't like being stuck in traffic. And literally my wife drove for the first 5 hours. I took over driving. I was going to drive the other 5 hours, and I was probably 4 hours in. My wife looked at me and she goes, bro, your driving sucks. You're making me sick. I'm taking over. So literally we stopped for gas and she took over, and I'm sitting over on the passenger side, and I'm like, bro, your driving sucks, because she'll get up behind a semi truck and the semi truck's doing 60 and the speed limit's 70. I'm like, you need to go around. But she'll do that every time. So, you know, her style of driving and my style of driving are completely different, and it's an argument. If we could take 2 vehicles everywhere we go, that would be better. So a lot of times I'll just let her drive and I'll fall asleep because I don't want to. I just let her do her thing. I have to sleep, or my anxiety gets me.
No,
So
my wife doesn't drive if I'm with her. Locally, yes, but if we're going on a road trip, not at all. Even my teammates, like I let one of my teammates coming back from California back to Ohio drive. He drove for like 4 hours. I'm like, bro, you're done. And I got back behind the wheel.
oh no,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I bet I put on a couple 100,000 miles a year driving just for the team. There's no way in the world that I'm letting one of those fools drive. I can't tell you how many pastor princess photos I have of guys passed out while I'm driving. Just let me do my thing. Sit there, be quiet, and let me do my thing. We'll get there. But yeah, I'm the same way in traffic. I can't still today. I mean, I went out yesterday. I'm like, what is this idiot doing? It's like,
yeah, when it comes to traffic and other things, my anxiety gets the better of me. That's for sure.
mm-hmm.
So let's talk a little bit of. So you have an app that people can download. And I believe they can. It's on Apple and Google Play.
Yep.
And it's called Breathwork in Bed. So you can download it there. And it's a sleep planner function is designed to help you create a personalized sleep routine that works for you. So let's talk a little bit about the app, and let's talk a little bit about some of the different how it determines what your sleep pattern is and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I'm not a tech person, and I know that when your nervous system's strung out, you don't want to fuck around with electronics. So when you get into the app, it'll ask you two simple questions. When do you want to sleep? When do you want to wake up? Because when you're fatigued, you're like, here's what I want, just take care of it for me. All right. So once you tell it those two things, you can just shut it down and it'll drop notifications when you want to sleep, when you want to wake up. So, you might set your alarm for whatever time in the morning. The alarm will go off and you'll see the notification because you'll see that you've set that notification to come up at that time. You'll hit that button, and I can't tell you the difference it makes. Instead of forcing this lead weight out of the bed with willpower to being in bed, doing a few breaths, breathing into certain parts of your body, activating certain pressure points, you basically turn that lead into gold. And there's a few bonus features in there too, which I won't give away, but the amount of times that I've been in bed going, I feel like death. This is what the hell. And even though I created the app, I'm like, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work. But then bit by bit, by breath, I'm like, holy crap, this is working. And so that's so it's not just getting to sleep, it's getting out of bed. And if you can win the first 10 minutes of your day, you've won the day. But getting to sleep was a big problem for me. And I mentioned this in the preamble, that I made the mistake of telling a GP that I couldn't sleep, and I lost 6 years of my life to pills. No one told me that breath work was something you could do to, activate your parasympathetic nervous system, turn your brain off, and actually get to sleep. Because when I took these pills, my brain would fight it. So no, I'm not safe enough to relax, and it would fight. Okay, so it might get me to sleep, but then it would pop me up again at 2 a.m. and it'd be like, grrr, right? It's like if it just built a better resistance in me to these pills. So anyway, 6 years later, I discover breath work doesn't just still your mind, it also reduces your inflammation markers and your pain markers. So I got off, and I'm always very hesitant to say this, but there's a time and a place for pills. Sometimes they're the lesser of two evils, but it's not until you have a chronic injury that you realize it's not an age of information we currently live in. It's an age of marketing. The first 6 pages of Google are marketers. All right. And a marketer is very different to a healer. A marketer knows how to say the words you want to hear, the unspoken words inside your heart, and they'll give you testimonials about people in your situation. Oh my gosh, that's exactly what I want. Shut up and take my money. All right. But as the years roll on, you're not connected to your power, and you end up blaming yourself. And I know so many veterans, they say, look, I tried to get help. The help didn't help, so I'm never doing it again. Conversely, a healer, they're not as obvious. They don't always advertise. And they know their energy is not enough for 2 people, but they're connected to something super powerful. And it might have taken them 10 years to create that powerful connection, but they can help you connect to that powerful thing in far less time. So I don't see myself as a breathwork coach. What this app will do is connect you to the love of your life, and you're going to have that for the rest of your life. And this power that's inside of you, you reclaim your sovereignty. We talk about boundaries around our nation. Well, boundaries around yourself. I always think, if I could give myself everything that I'm really desiring before I leave the door, then my day's like a victory lap. Otherwise, if I don't give myself what I need from myself, I'm kind of looking for it from someone else. So breath work will guide you into sleep. if you wake up at 3 a.m., it's very handy to have a button you can press to guide your breath. And you do need guidance with breath because it's a conscious and unconscious thing.
Okay.
You can do it, thinking and not thinking, but basically if you just put in your phone 3 words, breath work in bed, it'll ask you when you want to sleep, when you want to wake up. We'll take care of the rest. There is a bunch of bonus features in there, but essentially I can't do what you do, but if I can improve the quality of your sleep, then everything you do will be improved.
Awesome. What's up, Mr. Christopher Elder? So Chris Elder runs mealtovets.com. So he's a Navy chief, retired, just recently retired within the last few years. I'm going to get you connected with him as well, so you can be on his podcast as well. I did put out that link right here. I'm going to throw it up on the screen. So this is for the first 20 clicks. This is your book. The first 20 clicks is free. So it's an audio book. You can go there and you can listen to his book. Download the app. I actually just downloaded it just a few minutes ago. Let me see if I can pull it up here. So I'm on let's see if I can, the start page of it. I'm going to definitely check it out tonight and see if it can help me, because I do have struggle sleeping. That's one thing the wife and I, we argue about quite a bit, because I'll stay up till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, fall asleep on the couch in the living room, and then be back up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And the wife is like, "Why didn't you come to bed?" I'm like, "Because I couldn't, my mind wouldn't shut down. It wouldn't stop." And a lot of times that's been a struggle for, we've been together, we've married 19 years, but we've been together for 23. And that's always been a struggle because my mind don't stop. It's always going and going and going. I was trying to see some other things on your website here, because you do have a.
Look, I've got all the socials needed because my company needs it, but the world doesn't need more social media. It needs more quality sleep. And what I would love to do is give you and the listeners at home a lived experience of what it is and my promise is I can completely relax your body within 3 breaths, but it's 3 proper breaths. Okay. All right. You ready for this?
Yep. Let's do it.
Okay. So my only request to people listening is you're seated or laying down. Please don't be driving or cutting up carrots. When you do need to focus on your breathing, and it is very relaxing to the point where some people really drift deeply. So if you're not in a supported, safe environment, this is maybe just save this point in the recording and come back to it when you are. So all we're going to do, it's really simple. I'm going to use all my breathwork coach powers to make this as easy as possible. Is we're just going to breathe in and breathe out. All right, pretty simple, okay? But this time when we breathe in, we're going to breathe in again and again and again. Let's give this a try. Breathe in and breathe in again and again and again and again. And just let that go. Now, my request is when you breathe in, it's all through the nose, mouth closed. All right. Now, did anyone notice when they breathed in again and again and again, their upper chest sort of opened up a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, for the sake of giving this a name, we're going to call this your secondary inhale. You got your primary inhale, you got your secondary inhale. I love these military terms, all right? So this secondary inhale is your top third of your inhale. And what you guys don't know, and this is what I love about my work, we all have bodies, but we don't know what they can do exactly. What not many people know is in our thumbs and fingers, we have this turbo button. All right, we're going to pinch our thumb to our fingers when we go into our secondary inhale. So we're going to start the inhale on our own. When it gets to the secondary inhale, we're going to hit those turbo buttons and notice how pinching your thumb and your fingers really hard boosts your secondary inhale. So I just invite everyone to breathe out, 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 mouth closed. Start breathing in, secondary inhale, hit your turbo buttons. And just notice, did you notice you could get a little bit more air in there?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's
All right.
crazy.
Who knew, right? Who knew? Our bodies are incredible. Now we're gonna juice this secondary inhale up even more. All right. So when we breathe in, we're gonna think of our chin and our power button, right? Our power button's like a triangle. And we're gonna open up that triangle. We're gonna raise our chin and look at the ceiling. Almost if you're in a chair, sort of lean back as well. Okay, to open up that top third. So I'll give you a little demonstration, then we'll do it. So we're blowing it out, breathing in, then as much as you can, opening that front. Cool, cool. All right. So everyone exhaling the air out, 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 out. With your mouth closed, start breathing in. Then at the end, hit the power button, raise the chin, look at the ceiling, raise your chest, open, 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 chin high, chin high, chin high. Now hold that breath and wriggle your shoulders back and forth. Open up that chest, push that air around, wriggle your shoulders back and forth. Move it around the place. And then when you're ready, just let it out.
Ooh, rush, a head rush.
Yeah, you get a little bit of a head rush, and then you can just feel it, like everything just drop and lift. And
I'm sweating a little bit. I like it. I like it.
Okay, because this space in your lung is very special. So if I turn my side profile on, when I've got shit in my head that's making me feel bad, I'll collapse it down. Okay, so, and that basically pinches off all my nerves and stops my nerves being connected. Think of your nerves like a water hose. And when you pinch the hose, there's less water going through. And that's how our nerves work. So when we're all hunched over, that's stopping all that power flowing the way it's supposed to. So when we open up, proper breathing gives you proper alignment. So all your electrical circuits have a lot more power going through them. So let's try and make this nice and smooth right now. So we're just going to breathe it out and then breathe in, really snort that last little bit, snort it through your nose, like really snort it like you're, almost doing a line. Okay. So blow it out, mouth closed, breathe in, and then flare your nostrils, snort, raise your chin, raise your chest, open up that chest like it's a flower, open it up, hold it, hold your breath, wriggle your shoulders back and forth. Feel how good it is to have a chest that's open and proud and strong. And then when you're ready, let it out with a sigh.
Oof. Brought tears to my eyes. Oof. That was a good one.
Well, we're not even halfway done yet. All right. Because this thing here, I don't just call it your secondary inhale. I call it your breath of possibility. When something feels impossible, we hunch over. When we specifically breathe into that space, that makes things possible. So when I'm kicking around in my normal day, I've got my fingers in my pocket. My fingers here become like circuit breakers. So when I got shit in my head, I instantly dispel it by breathing that breath of possibility. And people say, how much should I do breath work? And I say, well, when I was on pills, I didn't just have pills in my medicine cabinet. I had them in my cupboard, my fruit bowl, my car, my glove compartment. I had them freaking everywhere, right?
Right.
Because I was always self-medicating. So this kind of breathing, this is your chance to self-medicate and control your state of normal. Okay. And like I said, breath work is conscious and unconscious. So this little power button here, this will remind you to power into it. And one thing that my coach taught me when I was fighting is a really big snort through the nose, like a really forceful snort, like you're trying to breathe through your sinuses into your brain, oxygenates your brain instantly.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if that's scientifically proven or not, but it seemed to work in a fight, and that's what I ran with. So this time when we do it, I really want you to snort that air as rapidly as you can through those flared nostrils and feel like you're sucking it into your brain. Cool, cool? All right, so let's blow it all out. Get your fingers ready to power up the breath of possibility all the way in, and then snort that air like you're trying to spell shit in your head. That's it. Good. Hold it there. Wriggle it. Victory dance here. Move your shoulders. Open up that proud chest and then let it out with a big sigh.
Man,
I like it. I like it. Woof.
that's good stuff.
Okay, so that's the breath of possibility. That is your, medicine button to kick around with. And as much as there's possibility in our top third, in our bottom third is our breath of peace. So our bottom third of our lungs, where our belly button is, that's where you get the most gas exchange. So if you want to create peace, this is how we activate the parasympathetic nervous system. This is how we outrank the shit that's in our head. So I'm going to give you a little demo. We're going to, and I might even stand up for this. So, hopefully it doesn't zoom in. So we're going to breathe in, we're going to hold it, we're going to wriggle it, and then we're going to let our head fall forward and push the air from our top third to our middle, to our belly, and our hands are going to be on our belly. So we're going to be hunched over in our chair, head down, and we're going to pressurize it down low. Our hands are going to be in our belly, pressurize it down low, and then we're going to let it out with a, so the air's trying to come out, but our mouth is stopping it. A bit like you've got a pressure cooker on a stove and you let it go, the steam comes out, and you want to make that sound as long as possible. You got that?
Got it.
So we're going to breathe in just like we did. We're going to hold our breath. We're going to wriggle it down low. Hands on our belly, pressurize it, letting it out with a cool. All right, so blowing all your air out. Have your power button and your chin ready. Breathe it in, snort it. Really snort that air, open that chest. Feels good to be open and proud. Wriggle your shoulders, holding your breath. Let your head fall forward. Almost like your head's going into your lap. Put your hands on your belly. Feel that balloon down low to your belly button. And then squeezing that, let it out with that as long as you can, and let your body collapse. All the tension leaves your body as you're like an inflatable toy that's collapsing because it's deflating.
Man. Yeah, I felt that big time.
Now that's the first time you've done that, and that's one full breath. We're going to do that 2 more times just to build a little bit of repetition, because the third time comes around and it'll actually sit correctly and you'll sort of get a feel for it. I'll also give you a link for this to coach people through it, so they can do it in their own time. Awesome. All right. So we're going to do this 2 more times, and each time allow yourself to just open. There's no wrong way to do this, so just do it with the most ease, grace, feel good, relaxation you can. All right. So we're going to do this 2 more times. Have your power buttons ready. Blowing it out. Snort that nose, hit those power buttons, raise that chin, raise that chest to the ceiling. Feels good. Wriggle it around, wriggle your shoulders, open up that chest. Feels good to be a powerful, proud bloke. And then let your head collapse forward. Hold your breath. Move that air down low. Put your hands on your belly. Pressurize that air and then let it out with a tss. Try and make that tss last 20 seconds. And as it's coming out, let your body relax. Relax your shoulders. Feel like you're deflating, relaxing everything. Your whole body is just relaxing and falling away. And on this last one, this one's just going to be ease and grace. Your body is responding to this. Your whole system is built for this. So we're going to do 1 more power button, deep breath in. Oh, man, this feels good. Wriggle, holding it. And then hold your breath, collapse forward, hands on your belly. Let your head really hang forward. Let your neck relax and let it out with a and your whole body is deflating. All the tension is leaving your shoulders, leaving your face, leaving your back. As that air falls out, everything's relaxing.
Super relaxed.
And
Oh man, that's good stuff.
Yes, it is. Holy cow.
and
I
it
love
would
it.
be very hard to put into words what you just experienced.
Yeah.
I mean, relaxed is a word, but what you experience, just 3 full breaths, you know, as someone who used to drink a lot of alcohol, I used to reach that place with all sorts of substances. But to know that we can access that peace that is really hard to explain, this is where I explain that breath goes beyond words. It goes beyond thought. And when you realize that you're getting introduced to the love of your life, this is going to be one of the best relationships you're going to ever have. And it's going to be right here. You know, when I'm standing in a queue getting frustrated, when I'm in traffic, you know, when I'm doing anything that I need to self-regulate, when I don't want to take it out on others, this thing here, these little power buttons, self-medication buttons, they're my first go-to.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, it's hard to put it into word because like you could just feel the stress and just releasing. I mean, it's hard to put it into words. It really is. So if you're driving, don't do this. But yeah, you definitely
not down to your belly. You can possibly just breathe it into your possibility, but don't put it down to your belly.
Yeah, definitely.
That's where you really drift. Now that we're nice and relaxed, I haven't actually done this via live stream yet. I normally do this in an in-person workshop, but I'm very happy to show you that little eye exercise that can help change the rods and cones in your eyes.
All right, let's try it. Yeah. See, here's the first time for everything.
Okay, so what we're going to do, so the way the eyes normally work is if there's stimuli over here, my eyes look and then my face looks, right? So we're going to do the opposite. So where my face is looking, my eyes are going to go in the opposite direction. So what I do is I'll look at my thumb, okay, and I'll focus on my thumbnail. Now watch how let me give you a demonstration first. Watch how my eyes are tracking my thumb. My thumb is going away and my eyes are going back there. Now I've lost sight of it, but I'm still looking back and my face is facing that way, but my eye is facing back here.
Okay.
And then I slowly bring it in, bring it in, bring it in. Oh, there I can see it. Bring it back in, bring it back in, bring it back in, bring it back in. And my chin and hand arrive at 12 o'clock at the same time. Okay, so I'll give you another little demonstration. My hand, and it's done slowly. I'm looking at my thumb. My head is turning. My eyes are looking back. I've lost vision of it. And then as I come back, slowly my chin and my hand arrive at this 12 o'clock point the same time. Okay. So we're going to do that. Classically, you do between 8 and 10, but let's just do 6 to get a feel for this. Everyone just hold up your left hand, looking at your left thumbnail. Okay. And we're going to breathe in as we track that out and let your eye follow it. And looking back at your thumb, look back at your thumb. It'll be like you're going cross-eyed, but keep looking back at your thumb. This is anti-instinctive. And then gently start bringing it back to 12 o'clock, slowly. Look for your thumb, look for your thumb, look for your thumb, look for your thumb. Bring it back to 12 o'clock. Nice and slow. It will feel, this is, you've been alive for a certain period of time. Your eyes have worked for a certain way. So give yourself a bit of grace here. And just repeat that 6 times, nice and slow. Breathing in, turn your face, look back at it, look back at it, look back at it. Almost look at your cheekbone as you're sort of looking back, looking back, looking back, looking back. And then bringing it back in nice and slow. So keep looking back for it. Look for your thumb, look for your thumb, look for your thumb. That's it. And then bring it back so your chin and hand arrive at the same time. At 12 o'clock. And then repeat that 4 more times. Looking. Keep looking back. It's almost like you're stretching that eyeball. and then bringing it back in nice and slow. The slower you do this, the more your nervous system is going to respond to this. Look for your thumb, look for your thumb, look for your thumb. It will feel like you're going cross-eyed. Very good. Two more times.
Definitely awkward.
Yeah, because this is counter instinctive, nice and slow. And as military, we want to go harder, faster. But the slower you do this, the more your nervous system's going to react positively. All right. So keep looking back. Keep looking back. Feel like you're stretching out that space, and then try and have, as it comes back nice and slowly, look for it as it comes back. Look for it as it comes back. It should come into view, and then it lines up at 12 o'clock. Okay, on this last one, I want you to do it twice as slow. So focus on your fingernail and go twice as slow, turning your head, move your hand, turn your head. Your face turns, your eye looks back. This is good. Keep looking back, keep looking back. You're doing it, Willis. Keep looking back. Turn your head. That's it. Keep looking back. Keep looking back. Keep looking back. That's good. And then gently, keep looking back for your thumb. You want to look for your thumb, even though you can't see it. This is really good. Look for your thumb, and everything comes back to 12 o'clock. Okay, and just rest there for a second, okay? And you, again, because our eyes have been wired a certain way for a certain period of time, this will feel awkward as.
Yeah.
Okay. And whenever you do one side, you've got to wait about 30 seconds to let all those neural stimuli just to calm a little bit. And then when you're ready, you do the same thing on the other side. Now, just because you've done one side, you think, oh, I'll kill it on the other side. But sometimes, depending on the part of your brain where the stuck energy is, sometimes the other side is harder, sometimes it's easier. So I've often found with this exercise, people with a bit of trauma they get really stuck in certain places. All right. So this is a new muscle group that you've just discovered, and it's the gateway for your peace. So I really encourage, and like I said, it took me 6 years to find this. This is the first time I'm doing this live on air. Normally I do it on Army bases when I'm in person. But if we can benefit like one veteran from this, and I've benefited thousands showing in person, but this, we've got an opportunity to show to thousands. So let's hold out our right hand now, focusing on your thumb. See your thumb and turn your head and keep letting your eyes track that thumb, Feel your head turning, feel your arm moving. You might not see but keep looking back, keep straining that eye back to look. That's it. Keep looking back. Keep looking back. It almost feels like an arrow being pulled back in a bow. Keep looking back. Keep looking back. And when you're ready, bring it back to center. Bring it back to center. Everything arrives at 12 o'clock at the same time. You want everything arriving in front of your sternum at 12 o'clock. In your own time, take a nice deep breath. And let's do this again. Sometimes people forget to breathe, so always remember to take those deep breaths that we've just been taken. Turn your head, turn your head, turn your head, look back and turn your head. Very good. And then when you're ready, feel into it to bring it back to center. You want your chin and your hand meeting at the same time in front of your sternum. Look for your thumb, look for your thumb, look for your thumb, look for your thumb. So let's do that 4 more times, nice and slow. And the more relaxed you are when you do this, the more this will take effect. So turn your head, looking back, turn your head, looking back, turn your head, looking back. And allow yourself to stretch out a little bit. Keep looking back as you stretch out, and then start bringing it all the way back to center, remembering to breathe. Look for your thumb, look for your thumb, look for your thumb. And when you get it to 12 o'clock, just refocus your eyes on your thumb. Refocus your eyes on your thumb. Take a deep breath. And 2 to 3 more times. Opening, 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 looking back, looking back. Doesn't matter if you can't see it. Your face is facing in one direction. Your eyes are facing in the opposite direction. And then bringing it back to center. Now on this last one, I want you to do it twice as slow. Take a nice deep breath in. This is all nice and comfortable. No one's pushing anything here. Nice deep breath in, and do this one twice as slow. And feel what it is to stretch out that eye socket. You're okay. Everything's fine. Turn your head. Allow your head to turn. Looking back, straining your eye to see your thumb, which you probably can't see. And then bringing it twice as slow back into the center. Looking back, nice and slow. Everything slow and controlled. And what we're going to do now is just, check in, feel into your body. How is your body feeling after that little eye thing?
Relaxed. Definitely relaxed. Like I feel like I'm hot, but it's like just surging down.
Yeah.
It's just, holy cow. Yeah, I'm about to have to take my hat off. I'm sweating so much.
Yeah, that surging feeling is the reconnection we have to our bodies. We actually start feeling our stomach, our arms, our hands. I can feel my feet inside my shoes. And how are you doing, Gunny?
Good. It definitely takes some. The coaching was good to look back, because there's a few times that my eyes just wanted to come back to the direction that my head was turning, but forcing, to look back whichever direction, the opposite direction that my head was turning. But yeah, it's definitely, seeing this side of my nose so often, or this side, as you're doing that turn, you're looking back in the direction you should be looking, because you're seeing that side profile of your nose as you're coming back at it, right? Because you said, semi cross-eyed, but then coming back to it, you can see everything coming back, and almost the corner of the nose, and then the thumb coming in, and then you do a one blink here, and everything's back in line and focused.
And let's just check in with our field of vision. If you look around the place you've always been sitting, is there anything you see now that you didn't see before?
I think it's brighter in here.
Brighter? More detail?
Yeah.
HD?
I mean, my peripheral's always been really good. Like I could see things pretty far back, but I guess I could focus more on like the chair that's over here next to me without looking at it. I can see it. I know where it is. And I'm not talking about the one that's directly behind me, but there's another one right here to about, I guess it's 180, which I could see past it. Like there's a box there. I can see that. Same thing with over here. I got a ladder over here and some other things over here that I can see a little bit more. I mean, I know they're there and I'm aware of them, but I can definitely see them a little bit more. So
you're opening up your vision, your sense of where you are. Often people report it's like life occurs in high definition after this, and having that sensory awareness has a very relaxing effect on our nervous system, because we're aware of it all. We see it all. If anything turns up, we'll see it.
Yeah.
Okay. And you know what? Sometimes if you do this enough, things start looking really beautiful. So before I go for a run, I'll always do that, because it feels like I'm on a nature documentary, because I'm seeing things in HD.
Nice. Okay.
And that's one of those activities that you don't hear about because no one's making money, because once you can do this for yourself, this becomes the windscreen wiper of all my stress. Okay. So when I'm in public and I'll go to a bathroom, and instead of using my arm, because you don't have enough space, I'll use my elbow. So I'll do these ones, and that will get me back into a calm state that I can re-engage. So when I'm getting triggered in public, I'll go where the toilet is and I'll do those ones. I'll do some breaths. If I'm at a traffic light and I want to calm down, I'll do those ones. So just put that into your tool belt, so you can bring the best of you out and give the best of you to others, and you can not have to be the one that I knew my family always had to walk on eggshells at time when I couldn't regulate my own nervous system. So This is just two ways for you to be able to self-regulate, self-medicate in the most wonderful way. My challenge to you both, as well as anyone who's listening, is for the next 7 days, start your day with those breaths, just 3 breaths, and with those exercises, and just notice, start and finish your day. So at the beginning of your day and at the end of your day, do that for the next 7 days, and just watch what happens when you're actually in control of this thing, and you're not you're connected to this thing. You're not disconnected because you're so focused on something outside of you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for
Sure
sure.
does.
Yeah, I definitely going to do that homework for the next 7 days and try it out for sure to see, because the breathing definitely, it's like, oh man, this is awesome. And then doing that exercise there, literally I could feel my eyeballs stretching as I was turning, trying to look. It was hard. Don't get me wrong, it's hard. It was awkward, but I think the more I do it, the easier to become. So I'm definitely going to try that for the next 7 days and see, start my day with that and end my day with that as well. No, that's super cool, man.
Well, and also ask the question, as easily as I showed it to you, how easy could you show it to somebody else? How many other people could benefit from this? This pharmaceutical free option, man.
Oh, heck yeah. I mean, definitely. I mean, the people that I know, the people that Gunny knows in our circles, we could definitely show that to other people, because I know there's a lot of people like me. Like, I don't, when I went to my therapist, he's like, well, we can give you medication. I was like, no, doc, I don't want medication. I've been a strong advocate about not taking medicine. Even with my general doctor, she's like, well, we need to give you medicine for this or medicine for this. I was like, I don't want to take pills. I don't want to be on pills for the rest of my life, because that's what the VA is known for, is pushing pills. And so right now I think I have 5 pills that I'm taking for like cholesterol and some other medicine like vitamin D. I'm like, dude, I get vitamin D. I'm outside all day long in the sun. Why do I need to take? But I was low in vitamin D. So I'm definitely going to try these exercises and stuff like that, because like I said, I'm a very strong believer in natural medicine. If there's ways out there to help me overcome things without having to go to the VA and getting pills pushed down my throat, because I think that's just putting a Band-Aid on an open wound, if you want my honest opinion.
Yeah.
And I think the natural way, with the breathing, and then that exercise there, I think that's going to help me open up and see the beauty instead of seeing the threat out there. So, man, thank you for showing.
I'd love to go over there and run a workshop for you guys.
Oh yeah, we need to figure out how we can do that. Gunny, we can be pretty cool to have him come to an event somewhere and do that.
Yeah.
Somewhere. We need to figure out how we can make that happen.
My favorite thing, guys, is I get the veterans that I work with to take a photograph of themselves before, and then we go into this a lot deeper than we just skim the surface right now because of the time limitation. But then after, say, a half-day workshop, they take another photograph of themselves and they look completely different, and they can see it for themselves. And they're often talking differently. They're talking from a deeper part of themselves. So yeah, there's a lot of magic in what can be offered in spaces that not many people hear about. And I'm happy to share in any capacity I can. It'd be fun to go over there and run a few workshops with you guys.
Oh, heck yeah.
for sure.
Guys, if you're out there watching, you're listening, the website's right here scrolling across the bottom of the screen. It's been scrolling pretty much the whole episode. Go check them out. Go download the app. It's a simple app. I just downloaded it and then log into it and do, set up the things for it. And if somebody wanted to get in contact with you, what's the best way for them to get in contact?
Just go through the website, reach out through there. I do one-on-one coaching as well. But the reason I actually withdrew from public life about 2 years ago, I got an email from a very high-ranking officer in the Australian Army. I just run a workshop out on our local army base, and all the corporals and sergeants were going to this officer who didn't attend, and they're all saying, look, this was the first good night's sleep we've had in 5 years. And this officer thought it was awesome. I'm like, no, it's terrible. They haven't slept in 5 years. All right. And he says, and it was good when you were there, but what can you offer when you're not there? And then I'm like, oh, I just failed my own P test. So everything I do, Willis, has to be powerful, positive, and permanent. All right. And there's a lot of powerful and positive stuff out there. Oh, the circus has come to town, this motivational thing. But if you really are concerned about the people you're serving, who are those people a week later, a year later? So right. Permanency, I failed my own permanency test. So that's why I withdrew from public life and created this little app which simply connects you to your breath when you need it. So even if I'm removed from the picture, this is going to be something that people can access. However, to get an appreciation and awareness as humans, we do need a human-to-human connection to go, wow, that actually makes sense. I've got the connection now. Thank you for the introduction. Now I can run the show on my own.
I love it. No, I love it. I mean, just that little bit there. I think if people, like you said, try for 7 days, and they can feel the change. I think it's something that they have to continue doing if they feel that change. I think that's us as humans. Sometimes we'll start something and we never finish it. A lot of times. And I think doing the breathing exercises and then, doing that with the eyes, I think, if they continue doing it, I think they'll see a better positive.
Well, and the thing is, look at us taking apart a weapon, right? It's repetition.
Yeah.
Repetition becomes your normal. Repetition becomes, just another part of your day, right? Most people get up, fart, have her coffee, sit down, read the paper, and they go out the door. If you do this, that's your new normal. That's your new start of the day. That's your new end of the day, and you're starting and ending on a positive note, which everybody wants to do.
Yeah.
Because no one wants to go to bed angry. Nobody wants to wake up angry.
Yeah, I would agree with you 100% on that, Gunny. Tim, I want to thank you for coming on here, spending this hour and 40 minutes with us. Great knowledge, great conversation. I know you got probably a busy day, rest of the day, and we're going to get ready to wrap this episode up. But is there any parting words before we let you go?
I'll leave everyone with this. If you can control your breath, you can control everything.
I love it.
And you've just been shown you got your own little medication button right now. And if you can master this for you, you can master it for others.
I love it. I love it. Well, we're going to put you back in the green room if you want to hang out for a little bit while we wrap up the show. I'm sure we can talk at the end. So we're going to drop you back real quick, my friend. How cool was that, Gunny?
That's good stuff, man. And
Dude,
I've been trying to live a more holistic lifestyle anyway. Doing the flotation therapy stuff, doing the cryotherapy, chiropractic care. To get off the meds, to help, stretch out the joints and ligaments that have compressed over the 14 plus years that I served, and wearing the pack and all the gear and the helmet and everything. And, so to alleviate me from having another neck surgery or having a back surgery, doing those things. And of course, building up those muscles around the muscles
Yeah.
to make sure you're living a healthier life. But yeah, I think that going into my toolbox is going to be great, not only for me, but for my wife, for the kids.
Yeah.
I don't know about people in traffic. They still might get a little bit of the gunny, but my wife and kids for sure will definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna try that. My wife will probably look at me like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Probably.
Yeah.
When I'm sitting there looking at my elbow, and she'll probably
In
be like,
traffic.
yeah, in traffic. She's like, dude, you got to drive. But I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna see.
Well, just have her grab the wheel. You operate the gas and the brake. You'll be all right.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we can do that. I just have a separate steering wheel and gas pedal and stuff put in there. Be like, hey, honey, you take over for a minute.
Yeah, just like
we'll see how we'll see how that all plays out. So here, let's talk about this right here, Gunny. This is you.
Yeah, man. I mean, Tim touched on it too. You're not alone. You still have worth. You still have value. There's people that have walked in the same footsteps as you are. You can't let those dark days win.
Yeah, definitely. You can't let the dark days win. You are not alone. So if you want to reach out to Gunny, myself, reach out to somebody. And then that leads into this right here. Hashtag be someone stranger. Is this something we started last year? And what I mean by this is we as humans, we're more apt to talk to somebody that's a complete stranger than the ones we love the most. So hashtag be someone stranger, be somebody's ear. And then maybe they can be your ear. Just a vent. Don't try to fix them. Just be an ear for them to let it all out on. So hashtag be someone stranger.
I tell you, it's not even just vets, right?
Yeah, that could be anybody.
There's a young lady I met last year in Japan who's a skydiver, and her local drop zone just got shut down. And I think it was the day after Christmas, maybe. My phone starts blowing up, and I'm like, "What's going on?" And it was Kaz, and she just needed somebody to vent to, in that time of need. And I just happened to be that person that I guess picked up the phone and allowed her to vent. And I wasn't trying to issue solutions. I just wanted her to get whatever demons are in her head out at the time, and that's all she needed.
Oh yeah, for sure. My phone. I was on vacation. My phone rang a couple of times, and I answered it. And it was some veterans that just wanted to talk, and needed somebody that could listen to what was going on with them. And I didn't try to fix their situation. I just let them talk, and a lot of times they worked it out themselves during the conversation. So my phone's always open, 24/7. If you need to reach out to me, reach out to me. If you don't have my phone number, message me on Facebook, David Willis Jr. I'm on Facebook, and I'll give you my phone number. Just reach out to me. Message the HomeFront Sitrep page on Facebook, or send a message through YouTube, wherever you need to get a hold of me. You can get a hold of me. If you're a veteran and you're in crisis, or just a human and you're in crisis, 988*1 if you're a veteran, 988 if you're not a veteran. They will reach out. They will talk to you if you're in crisis. You have to reach out. That's the key thing. You have to reach out. You can't be stubborn and say, "Oh, I can work through it on my own," because a lot of times you can't. The demons will take over. So you have to reach out, and you have to talk to somebody. So let's play that commercial right quick. Yeah. So 988*1 if you're a veteran, 988 if you're not a veteran. Reach out to somebody. And then, something that I was saying last year, you have to ask that next hard question. Because I can go up to Gunny and say, "Hey, Gunny, how you doing today?" And Gunny's probably going to say, I'm fine. I'm living the dream. I'm hanging in there. But that's when you have to ask the next hard question. Hey, Gunny, how are you really doing? And then be ready for that conversation, because that conversation could be a 5-minute conversation, could be a 10-minute, 5-hour conversation. You just have to be ready for that conversation. So just be ready, man. And then Gunny, take us out.
It's the beginning of 2025. Willis and I back for our second live show. Excited to be back. He did change my name down there and took out the fill-in piece. So he's going to have me for a little bit. Hopefully we can get Candace back. But like we always say on HomeFront Sitrep, be safe out there.
We got your six.
Your six.
Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this show.
Suggestions and comments are always welcome.
Cannot wait to have another great show with y'all.
Don't forget you can find HomeFront Sitrep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Stay safe out there. I got your six.